Yes, we're live. Thank you everyone for joining today. My name is Sam. I'm joining from London, and we're here on the second day, day 2 of the AI immersion roadmap for AICamp Holiday Study um, program. Thank you all for joining in. We have like about 68 people on the call today. That's lesser than the number we had yesterday. So I assume it's a normal thing that we get to like play to as the or we go downward as the training continues. So today we're going to be focused on the AWS Bedrock program, and also talk about Claude integration and cloud development. So just a quick recap from yesterday. We had a conversation about fundamentals and foundation LLMs, right? We had a distinction between cloud LLMs and open source LLM. Cloud LLMs are like LLMs you have to download on your laptop to like make it work. We also had conversation about what is LLM, like how do you what goes behind the hood, under the hood of a LLM. We also talked about how to set up virtual IDEs. So virtual IDEs like say IDX, and also a virtual notebook like Google Colab. So we walked through the process of connecting that to your Google AI Studio, like the Google Gemini API. So just to see how that works together. So we also gave some homework. We shared some homework on the Google Canvas, or so on the Slack Canvas, up on the Slack group, on the Slack channel. So I hope we've all been able to do our homework. We've all been able to participate. So today we're just going to be doing a live demo just to see how it works, especially for the AWS Bedrock and how to do cloud integration. So we are not going to be, walking you through the self-paced process. So you understand that this program is self-paced. We've created resources. We've created resources, activities, tasks you're supposed to do, and those tasks are on the canvas on Slack. So you're supposed to go through those programs, go through those courses, and go through those videos that we've put up there. Learn as much as you can from them. Ask questions if you have any, and come up on this check-in session to like continue on the sessions. So yesterday's session was recorded and it has been published live on YouTube. We've shared the recording on the canvas as well. Also shared it on Slack, so you can go up the Slack. I know a lot of conversations are happening on Slack. We have like over 300 people on Slack right now, on that Slack channel right now. So a lot of conversation. So you can just go to the search or go to the canvas to be able to have access to it. So quickly, I'm going to do like a rundown about AICamp, and also a rundown about just some housekeeping rules. So just give me 2 seconds as I get started on that and start the slideshow. So today's day 2 and AICamp. What do we do at AICamp? AICamp is a global AI developer community with about 400,000 AI developers from 150 countries. So our vision is to empower every developer to learn and practice AI from anywhere in the world at any time. So we got local community in 50 cities and 15 plus countries. Currently in North America, Seattle, San Francisco, and 20 other cities in North America, in Europe. The London chapter is the one running this 7-day sprint, or 7 days learning sprint. And you've got chapter in Paris, got one in Berlin, Tel Aviv, Madrid, Amsterdam, Dublin, Zurich, and also in the APAC region, Bangalore, Hyderabad, New Delhi, Sydney, Melbourne, Singapore, and some cities in China. So this is just an opportunity for you to also connect outside of the sprint, right? Connect with us, come to our meetups, come to our programs, just to be able to upskill yourself for 2025. And how do you get involved? Like I said earlier, you join the community builders team. We are always calling for members, volunteers to join, support us as we organize and put together an event. You can also submit a topic to speak. If you have an amazing project you're working on, let us know. You can submit a topic and come up and join us to speak at one of our events. You can also sponsor a meetup. So if your organization is like a community-driven organization that wants to reach our members, come up, sponsor a meetup, venue, food, drinks, prizes, and all that. We can also collaborate on your event. Let's say you're working on an hackathon or you're working on a workshop. You want us to be a part of it. Happy to join you on that. So the contact email to reach out to is info@aicamp.ai. So more learning event, we host event virtually every week. We also host like physical in-person meetups and workshops. So yeah, so this is the London team. That's me, there's David, there's Tibor, there's Subash, and Kevin. You get to meet some of the other members of the team on the chat, and we also get to meet some of the other members of the team respectively on different days to take sessions as well. So this is a program overview. Just to let you know what the program overview looks like. These are the tools we're going to be using and we're going to be talking about as time goes by. So Olama is an open source LLM. Talk about Bedrock, AWS Bedrock, Gemini, Google Gemini, OpenAI. So every of these tools or every of these tools, every of this platform are going to be discussed as time goes by. So we're going to talk about them in detail. And what's the format of this workshop going to look like? Like I mentioned yesterday, we're going to have daily 30-minute session. Yesterday's session was extended to about 1 hour. That's because it was the first session and we expect people to ask questions and we have like longer things to cover. And we also get opportunity to do hands-on practice and live coding sessions where you get to like also get to answer more questions. And this is the roadmap I've been sharing earlier about how the days are going to look like. Yesterday was foundations. Today we're talking about cloud AI. We will focus on Bedrock, Cloud Day, and there's like just focus on cloud AI. On day 3, we're going to be talking that day 3 is going to be Monday because we didn't set any class for tomorrow, Sunday. So we're going to be talking about Gemini APIs, mixed data, practical applications. And those that attended, those that participated in the first one, that's for yesterday. You already have the tools you need for day 3. You have the tools set up. So that's what we're going to be using on day 3. And on day 4, we're going to be talking about the OpenAI ecosystem. Day 4 is on Tuesday. I think that's the 1st of December. 31st of December, I guess, right? And day 5, day 6, day 7, like that. And this is just a quick housekeeping rule. The schedule is 6 p.m. GMT. That's GMT is the UK time or London time. So 6 p.m. GMT we kick off. Make sure that you are connected to the calendar. We have a calendar, a public calendar. As soon as you connect the calendar, it automatically syncs to your own calendar and syncs to your time zone. So it lets you know what time you should join the call. And you also have a duration, for duration of 30 minutes ideally, but it can extend to 45 minutes or 1 hour depending on the technicality of the talk we're going to be giving. We encourage everyone to join at least 5 minutes early. And these are the tools that you need to get set up: your Google account, Python, and join our Slack workspace as well. Communication is going to be on Slack, and sessions are recorded, so you can have an opportunity to like review some of the sessions later. And resources are also shared post session. After every session, we also share tasks and activities or assignments we want you to do and work on. So it's important for you to do that. And session formats are live demos, interactive Q&A, and hands-on practice. So we can't teach you everything you need to know, right? We can only point you to the right direction on what you need to get started. And that's the purpose for this event or program. So other things that's not been mentioned here is that we're also looking at an opportunity to like reward the best people. Like what I'm talking about, the best people, your best people. I'm talking about the best people that make the best use of this program, in terms of people that participate the most, people that that are engaging, that are doing better, like using the tools to like come up with amazing projects and doing projects in the right direction. We're currently collating the prizes that we're going to be giving the winner at the end of the session. We're also planning a certification that we're going to give, like a certificate we're going to give out to the winners. That's the people that, participate, use this session the most, right? So we're going to be sharing that update very shortly. We're going to share more update on that, on how you can make use of it, and what are the criteria, what are the things we're going to be looking at to say, oh, that you're going to be selected. So that's just for you to be able to, follow the right path or follow the right direction. So I think that's everything from my own end in terms of the housekeeping. And just give me 2 seconds as we get ready to go into the live demo. So I'm going to invite Tibor up on stage to do his presentation. So it's going to be a live demo. So we've shared participation already, like things you need to get ready. We ask you to set up, get AWS set up, get AWS console set up, and also get your IDX set up. So we're going to be using those tools for the live demo today. So just give us 2 seconds as we get that started.
Hi everyone, I'm Tibor, one member of the AICamp London community. So I will be going through, well, first of all, I'll show you how to set up AWS in terms of how you can have Bedrock and how you create your credentials. And I will show you how to set up IDX. And then we have a small Jupyter notebook, and I will be showing you how to set it up. When you are on your own, you're welcome to go and explore, and you can use your own IDE. We decided to go by IDX because the features it is having and the simplicity, and also it's modern, and it has AI integration and VS Code. So it's a very familiar environment for a lot of people who are developing, but everyone has the same interface and platform to work with. So let's jump on AWS. Let me see, where's my tab here? Sam, can you just confirm that? Do you see that I'm moving the screen around and I'm in my console home for AWS?
Yes, I can confirm that you are on AWS, and I can see IAM, Identity and Access Management. Is that the tab you're on?
Oh, that's not the one I wanted to share. Just a moment. Yeah, I think it will be this one. There, right. Okay, so first of all, I will go into users in AWS in Identity and Access Management. So I will just show you how you create your credentials. So this is not a recommended way. This is just sort of a test environment. So if you manage users in a production environment, it's always recommended to have user groups and assign users into groups. So in this case, we will just create like a sample user, let's say lab user, and then we'll just go next. So we don't give anything else, very minimalistic permissions we are adding here. So we will use the direct policies for the user instead of adding it to a user group. And we will use the Amazon Bedrock. And we only give it the read-only permissions here. And let's go to next. So this is it, really. We create the user. And then what we can do with the user, we also need to add some extra permissions for the user. So let's do that. I just opened up the user interface, go to add permissions, create inline policy, and I'm going to select a service to Bedrock. And then we're going to add some for the read permission. So we need the invoke agent and invoke model with response stream. We actually don't need this right now. I'm just following the tutorial from which we have shared online as well. And then for resources, we need to set access to the foundation model, and that's it. So next, we need to name the policy. So this is, we call it lab policy. And let's go create it. And that's it. So we have created our user with the permissions to be able to invoke the large language models we have defined. So what you need to do now, again, this is not, there are some other ways to authenticate. The production environment APIs usually are quite simple. So what we do is create the security credentials, go down to access keys and create access key. We want to create access keys for applications running outside AWS because IDX is an environment outside of the AWS environment. And then click next. You will get a warning that alternative is recommended. So you can use some temporary security credentials as mentioned, but this is simpler in our case. You don't need to create a tag, so just create access key. And then I'll just keep this here for now. Yeah, let's just put it aside. And I'm going to create a new window. I will change my screen sharing as well. So now the next step is that when you are going into AWS, when you have your account, you need to enable the models to use. So what I did is go to Bedrock. I'm just showing you again in Amazon. What you want to do is change to your preferred location. I'm based in London, so I use EUS #2 region. And then what we need to do is go down into model access, and you need to enable, we do that, so modify model access, and we need to enable Claude Free Sonnet. I already did this, so I'm not going to show you with this one, but I have not done with Claude Free Haiku. So you can just check mark all the models that you want to use here, click next, and then you submit a request. In case if you're using a Claude or an Anthropic model, you would need to fill out a form as well, which just requests the reason what you want to use the model for and what's your business. Because I did that already, I didn't need to. It can take between 30 minutes and a few hours to have this access granted. So once we are done with this and we have our codes pinned down in the IAM, so I'm just going to keep that aside. I'm going to switch screens to project IDX now. I'm going to show you two ways to set up the project. Let me see. So as you see, this is the landing page for the Google IDX. So by default, you can have up to 5 projects. So I'm just going to delete this one. Now I have 4 workspaces, so I can create the 4th one. So what you do is you go to see all templates if you start from scratch. And then you can choose between, so these are web app templates, but you can choose like AI, mobile, backend, etc. So usually I would just go with AI, and maybe I choose LangChain, and then give a name, so sample project, something, and I would go with a Python notebook. So this is what we are going to use through this course, and then click on create. This will instantiate a general working environment which uses VS Code in a modern Linux environment. It's called NixOS. The benefits of it is it's very easy to update and very easy to keep the configurations the same across different containers, multiple containers. And we see that our environment has loaded. I'm not going to wait for this. I'm actually going to start a new window because there is another way to load a project from GitHub. So this is, I just found this out recently, so I'm just going to show you this. So I already have this in my URL. So what you can do is, like, you have sort of a URL tag in the following, and you do a GitHub link for a particular project. I need to just delete this project here first. Just going to delete. Just going here. So what I'm going to do now is what I recommend for you as well to do. I will share this link online. So this is the GitHub repository where we have the resources set up for this series of workshops, and you can use it as a reference. So I'm just going to load the project from here. Then I will just get a little loading page where I can import the project. It will take a few minutes until the workspace loads. So the benefit, or what I really like in using IDX, is that I can experiment with different extensions, which I wouldn't put on my personal computer, or I can experiment with Python libraries, which I would probably not put into my personal work environment. So you can be a little bit, take risks without worrying too much that what is happening. And I don't need to manage all the containerization and virtualization. So I have a really easy access. There are some alternatives to it. I just found this recently. I really enjoy working with it. I know that in Europe there are some limitations to using IDX because of the AI integration. So yes, but otherwise it's quite fun to play around with it. I'm going to share the GitHub repo link just in the chat here, so you can see, and I will also share the link for how I created how I imported the project. So I put it in the chat, but I will later on put it in Slack as well, so everything you will see. So we see that our project has started. There's already a configuration that creates a virtual environment, so I wasn't able to install packages on the default Python because it's very much locked down. So it still aims to be a secure environment. So we have a virtual environment, which I'm actually going to use as a kernel for our Jupyter notebook. Just a moment until it loads. I think it has loaded already, so I'm just going to shift in our terminal to another session. As you see, this is a regular VS Code extension just for beginners. So in the center, this is sort of the code editor part. So you see whichever file you have opened. So this can be a text file or a code file. On the bottom, this is the terminal section. So this is like a shell terminal where you can use Linux commands. And on the left, you see is the file explorer or the file navigation, which is opened in our project folder already. And so first of all, what I need to do here is we have a README for day 2. So we have like sort of a plan for every day, and we will be putting in some code here and code snippets that you can use to start to explore and work with it. But before that, because I need to have particular libraries, so we have the Python environment already created. So we need to do source and lab. And so I just use tab for completing the text here, and bin. So this is just a location which you need to type in and activate. So this will make sure that I have a virtual Python environment where I can. I'm a bit more flexible in terms of what Python packages I can install, and then I need to run this command. So this is pip install r, and then this is location for the packages that I want. So this is from day 2. What we will install is Anthropic Bedrock and PyYum, which is for just managing YUM files, which I use for configuring the secrets. Let me see. Oops, that was just gonna, yeah, okay, there's a problem with the // so I have to manually complete this. So while this is doing that, so let's open the file here, what we have. So our code is stored in a Jupyter notebook. So for example, you could import this into a Colab project, and then you could run this. Because in this case, I'm not able to run this first cell, so I needed to do this manually. So you have to ignore that. And before we do any more actions, we need to choose the kernel. So I think I need to enable the install and enable the suggested extensions. So we're just going to do that. So we need to wait until the extension loads. And now I should be able to select the Python environment I want to work with. So I want to work with the lab environment. And I think we have loaded in. So the first block, just ignore. We should have all the packages loaded already. So then the second cell has been created in order where you can sort of create and insert your cells. So at first I had a little bit of misunderstanding. So we have 2 inputs here. So this is where we will need our access key and the secret key. So if I run this, it's still installing the camera. So let's just wait that. So it should be running a moment now. So it's waiting for the first input. So I would expect this input happening here, but in this case, this is here. So I'm just going to switch to my Amazon environment and copy, paste my access key and secret key. Switch back here. So yes, there is no output, so it's a little bit not clear what is happening here. So I'm just going to, this is the access key, and now I'm going to paste the secret key. And oh, there was an error here, so I must apologize. Let's try again. Well, it's already loaded, so I'm just going to copy paste and update this section here. But we have this secrets.yum, and yeah, I will delete these codes right away after the session. So yeah. And then after this, we load the secrets. So they should be loaded. And then we import the Anthropic library from Anthropic Bedrock. Then the code creates a client. So this is what we use to make the request. The client needs to know our API secrets and the API ID. And it also needs to know region, which I set to EU West previously. And then basically we just have an input and then make a call to the client here. And I think that's it. So let's just run it. So again, it will ask for input right here. So greetings, Claude. Please say hi to the AI community. And so we will see the message here. And yeah, so this is working. So this is intended as a start. So from here on, you can create functions or loops or sort of experiment in how you want to build your own AI application. We are using the Anthropic library in this case for connecting to the client. So it manages the networking and a lot of details under the hood. And we have finished. So after this, if you have questions on Slack, I will answer that. And also, because we just found another error, so I will correct that on GitHub, and we will have all the resources shared. So I hand back to Sam, I think. We have not discussed, or if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer now. So I'm actually just going to go through your questions. So Bedrock, because if I have GPU in my computer and I use my local instance Jupyter, yeah, so if you have VS Code and you have your own setup, you can use Olama. We will show you how to set up Olama later, so I don't want to go into detail there. And also we are sort of thinking out how we want to make actually that part of the workshop, because like in IDX, you don't have GPU access directly, so it's a bit complicated to do directly, but we prepare to have everyone work in the same environment by default. Then, does IDX save previously installed extensions to your account? So you don't have to. So what you can do, I'm going to show that because you still see my screen. So for IDX, you have like a .nix file, and you can create a configuration here. And for example, here you can have a script for onCreate. You can have a script for onStart. So this means when you create the environment or when you start the environment, you can configure whatever you want to have in your workspace installed and done. And you can also configure different packages, and then it will work whenever you start a new container. So this is how it works. I'm not too familiar with the details, so you have to go and do your own research. But basically, this is how the configuration is managed in Nix, and this is how they aim to sort of standardize this setup. Then, yeah, so again, I'm not able to answer for GPU-related questions at the moment. We have not prepared with that. How do you connect your embeddings and pass to Claude? So what you can do, I think, which I have not tried, if you create your embeddings and you just send through the API, I'm not sure. You have to check the documentation for that. How do you set up environmental vars in IDX? Can you install libraries without actually activating an environment? So I think I have answered that question by telling you that you can create this dev.nix configuration file where you can set up and configure your environment. So it gives you this flexibility. It's a little bit similar to if you know Terraform or Docker, which gives you a way to, by default, automate configuring and managing your environment. And this is the same for a single container. Then just to make sure that this is 7 days course with the exception. So tomorrow we are not going to have a workshop, and also on the 1st of January, we won't have a workshop. And please also talk about vector DB types. So at the moment, we don't aim to touch on vector DBs. We plan to have a separate workshop where we sort of touch and work with more advanced features, for example, vector DBs and and custom GPUs and other aspects which would not fit in this course. Then could you show the secrets YAML again for syntax? So the secrets YAML is created. I'm not going to show that because it has secrets in it, but it's created by the script itself. So how it looks like, there are two lines. So basically it has one line for Amazon secret key and the other one is Amazon secret access key. I will remove the error which blocked it to be generated, and then it will be the file will be generated for you, and you will be also prompted to enter the details. If not, then you go here in the file manager and just copy paste your secrets there. Is one way. Okay, that's just, thank you. You are also answering. Thank you for helping other people. I see your answers there. And after the GitHub repo got updated, can we update the files in IDX that we already import? Do we need to re-report, or can we pull the updates to IDX? So if you are pulling from the GitHub repository, it will come with the configurations that is in the GitHub repository, which will overwrite any of your personal configurations in IDX. But if you want, you can just, keep your IDX configuration somewhere. And if you make a change, let's say I'm just going to, let's say go. So you make a change here, then you can, it automatically, you have a button to rebuild the environment, and then it will just restart the container with all the new settings that you have created. I'm just going to uncomment this because I'm not using this. Same as Vikash type error. String indices must be integers, not str. I'm not sure. What is that? Could you show the secrets? Okay, I see you have a, so add notice. I don't know what's that error. I will have a look again, and I will update the GitHub repository to make sure there is no error when you run from default. I see you also corrected the syntax, so that's great. You have a rate limit for importing the GitHub repo. Make sure you have signed into GitHub. So if you have not signed in, then it might not work for you, or I often had that issue. So try to sign into GitHub if that's not working for you. Just to make sure that this 7 days course, with the exception of tomorrow. Yes, so tomorrow we are not going to. Oh, yes, Subhash answered that. Thank you. Yes, and I think that's all. So we will be on the Slack channel. So, and we will also share some details there. If you go to we also have like Canvas in the Slack. So if you switch in the tabs, there are some more details there. So I'm just going to show you that, so you see more stuff.
I think there is a hand raised from. There is a person who wants to talk.
Oh, I don't see it. Yeah. Please ask your question.
Priya, you raised your hands, right?
Oh, sorry. I just had the question about the vector database. He answered that, so I think I'm good for now.
Okay, I see your question. I was about to reply. Vector database and all these things will be covered in upcoming sessions. It's a byproduct of what we do. So we can ask more questions. We can delve into it. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Thanks.
Thank you.
Ajit.
Yeah, I have a NVIDIA Jetson. Can I use that one for acceleration purposes here in this environment?
So if you're using IDX, I think it would be quite complicated to set up.
But what about Colab?
I have not tried, so I'm
Colab. So NVIDIA Jetson, Colab is very tightly integrated with the TPUs. Okay, and whatever the Google environment provides. NVIDIA Jetson, I think it's mostly you are a custom developed environment if you want to do. So with IDX, I don't know what's the relation, but may I know what's the question behind this? Why you want to use it in this way? So maybe I get the
Because
contestant.
it's a Jetson is a GPU based
Yeah.
system, right? So that's for the
Yeah.
acceleration. That's why I want to use that one.
Yeah, so you can always use that, but there are certain CUDA and all these frameworks and toolkits you have to make it. And you can keep IDX as your front end where you can do all the things like yesterday I said. This is still possible, but there is a set of ecosystem you need to bring into the picture to make it work.
Any pointers to that?
I replied in the chat about the CUDA and how to set up like local environment, but I haven't tested to the extent of that. But I have done some testing, so it worked. But it depends on your what kind of GPU limits you have, and all these things comes into picture. So what's your use case? It has to be identified. I'm not sure what's your use case, why you want to do it in this way. We can take it offline if you want. Yeah, I can help you on that.
Okay. And how do I get in Slack?
Yeah, you can reach out to me in Slack.
Okay, I'll do that. Thanks.
Reach out to anyone in the Slack, and we help with AICamp. Yeah.
Okay.
IDX is, again, I want to call out like IDX is take it like your IDE powered with AI. Okay, it's like a Jupyter notebook which has an AI backed by an LLM. So IDX is powered with Gemini LLMs. So it's like whoever knows about Cursor AI, it's very equivalent to Cursor AI. So it's don't get into the tools. Let's not get into the tools. It's our preference at what we want to use, but IDX is just a tool to your development. To keep it very simple. I think a lot of questions. That's why I'm answering this. Sorry for that. Yeah.
It's just an IDE, right?
Yeah, it's just an IDE powered with Gemini in the back end.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
It's very simple as it is. Too many tools. It's very normal that people get confused or people get overloaded or overwhelmed. So just make it simple so it's easy. Like IDX is an IDE powered by Gemini in the backend, like provided by Google. So it's Gemini LLM in the backend. That's how simple it is.
What kind of support does it give when you say powered by Gemini? Could you explain?
If you take for example, if you take a Copilot, Copilot is backed by what's grounded with actually. Copilot is grounded with OpenAI LLM. Is that right?
Yes.
So similarly, IDX is powered with Gemini LLM. Gemini is an LLM. It's a chatbot as well, but actually it's an LLM in the backend. So you're using Google has bundled this Gemini and made an IDE that's called IDX. So this naming is a little bit tongue twisting, but this is how it works.
But does it mean that it generates code? Is that
I can actually show you the integration. So
yes, yeah, better. There is an integration. I think it can generate code. I'm not sure how many people worked in Cursor. If you worked in Cursor, it's almost equivalent to that.
So just on the right here, you have the Gemini integration, and you can start a chat with it.
It's just
I don't really
integrate and inline the editor. This is it.
Yeah. If you remember when you use how many people use Google here, when you go to the Google console, cloud console, you have a Gemini integrated there. So they are trying to bring it like a similar to that here. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you can just I personally use another model, so also in AI Studio you have some more advanced models. So
the funny thing with this Gemini helper is that when too many people write the same question, because we are working on the same code, it will actually generate all of the code for you because other people already generated it when they worked through it.
And this happens in other LLMs also. The other like Cursor also it happens. So everything is in a beta mode now. So we have to test and try which one works for us for our use case.
One tool I can recommend, which I find really interesting, is called Claude. So I don't know if you know about this agentic tool. So it's called, the one I was using is called Claude. So if you set it up, it's integrated with VS Code. You can use any of the models with it. It's similar to GitHub Copilot. Basically, once you set it up, you have the extension just here on the side. And because we have the access keys in AWS, so once it loads, you see you have a different models you can use. So I will use AWS here, and just let's copy the access key. So this is the access key, and copy the secret key as well. And it was EUS number 2. Let's go. So now it is connected to the AWS Claude, and I can ask it to create a small snake game with Python in Jupyter Notebook. This might be a little bit complex task, so it kind of goes far off. But if you give it smaller tasks, it's quite good. So it goes without stopping. You can make it auto approve as well. No. Oh, okay. It failed. Anyway. Let's try one more time.
It fails because it tells you it's not for day 2.
Excuse me?
It's not for day 2. This is why it fails. It will work on day 7.
I think there's
see, this is all in beta. Okay, so this is all products are in beta. So for now, for testing and trying, it's good. But nobody, even in the I think IDX document, they have mentioned that it's not for production. You need to check it out. Yeah, I'm not sure if they have.
Yeah, no, this is just for playing.
Yeah.
Around. Let's create a small hello world. I think it should work now. I changed the backend model. It might still, yeah, it's still defaulted. So yeah, it works with the Claude models. So I use usually with Anthropic, but it can run away with your expenses. The only good thing is that it keeps tracking the expenses with it.
All right. All good?
Right. Thank you, Thibault. Thank you, Subhash. And thank you, everyone. I think we've come towards the end of the session, and we've been able to answer your questions. So our next session is on Monday, same time, 6 p.m. GMT. Please, if you're not on the calendar yet, just follow the calendar. You see the notification on your calendar and you join the meeting. So we're also going to be sharing some tasks ahead, things you need to do. So make sure you're glued to the Slack channel, put on your notifications. We're going to be sharing some tasks in terms of things you need to do for ahead of Monday. So things you need to prepare for. And that's it. So if you have any question, put it on the Slack group. Let's say you're going through some of our sessions and you don't understand one or two things, you can put it on the Slack group. We're happy to answer your questions. And that's it. Thank you very much, Thibault. Thank you very much, Subhash. And thank you everyone else that contributed to this session. And catch you all on Monday. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Yes, take care. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.